Welcome to Science and Futurism. Today we'll look into the SpaceX Starship SN8 15km flight. Starship SN8 has already completed one static fire and is ready for its second round of testing before it blasts off for its 15km hop in few days. Further, we'll discuss about the challenges of the flight and what big milestones lay ahead of the launch. So, without wasting any time, let's get started. Some of the Starship SN8 milestones that we'll see before the debut launches include another static fire test for the three Raptor engines and a test ignition that includes the oxygen header tank located at the very top of the nose cone. It also includes a cryogenic proof test of the nose cone as the bottom has already passed the pressure test early in October. Teams at SpaceX are also expected to test out the aerodynamic flaps as well as the reaction control system of the Starship thruster that provides the attitude control during its descent. Once these proof tests are done, Starship SN8 will lift off from the pad for the targeted 15km altitude, powered by its three Raptor engines. At this altitude, SN8 will get enough time to test the aerodynamic surfaces and collect a very crucial data for the SpaceX team, as they will understand how effective the aero surfaces are as the Starship glide back to the landing pad. Ahead of the launch, we have seen one of the three Raptor engines of the Starship SN8 being replaced, probably requiring some further testing. The Raptor SN39 was replaced by the Raptor engine SN36. SpaceX recently announced that they have now produced 50 Raptor engines and the production rate is expected to increase further. If you want to know more about how the SpaceX Raptor engine functions, I have already made a video on that. Do consider watching it after this. Now, let's see how the Starship SN8 15km hop would look like. The method that Starship SN8 will use for its 15km flight is quite astounding. Once ready, SN8 will lift off from the launch pad for the targeted altitude. Then, it will shut down all its three Raptor engine, and when it reaches its highest point, it will flip 90 degrees on its belly and do what many like to call the belly flop maneuver. Here, the Starship will not be under any source of power. It will glide its way to the landing pad using just the aerodynamic flap on its side and the nose cone for controlled descent. Then comes the most crucial part of the flight. Starship will have to relight the Raptor engines using the fuel from the header tanks in order to orient itself correctly to decelerate for landing. Here, the reaction control system as well as the aerodynamic surface will also play a big role in attitude control for the Starship. However, for this flight to succeed, a lot of challenges and problems lay ahead. One big challenge is the belly flop maneuver itself. Starship will have to orient itself and perform a controlled descent from the 15km altitude. Even though engineers at SpaceX would have run innumerable simulations of the aerodynamic surfaces and various other wind tunnel testing, real-life demonstration always have some new scenarios and problems to deal with. The CEO of SpaceX, Elon Musk, himself admitted these challenges while replying on Twitter. He stated through his tweets that stable, controlled descent with body flaps would be great. Transferring propellant feed from main to header tank and relight would be a major win. He also admitted that the rapid unplanned disassembly right off the launch pad is also possible, though we would not like to see that, isn't it? Another big challenge will be to relight the rocket engines for landing. As Starship will be horizontal when reigniting the Raptors, feeding the propellant in the combustion chamber through the header tank will be a big challenge, and if accomplished, it will be a big milestone. However, the excitement is guaranteed, whatever the outcome may be. Apart from the Starship SN8 launch, there are a lot of development that is going on in Boca Chica. Starship SN9 is almost done and SN10 is being stacked as well. Along with this, the super heavy SN1 is coming along nicely. Starship SN9 will be the first Starship that will be made completely out of 304 stainless steel, as Starship SN8 still has some 301 alloy parts. Starship is looking on its way to reach orbit next year. Once it starts operation, Starship will be the first fully reusable rocket ever developed. Additionally, Starship and Super Heavy system will have the capability to launch excess of 100 metric tons to the low Earth orbit, making it the most powerful rocket ever made. With the ultimate goal of making humankind a multiplanetary species, Starship will need to first demonstrate its orbital capabilities and will also need to pass safety tests for future crewed flights. A lot of milestones and challenges lay ahead for the Starship, but once accomplished, it will drive the innovation in spaceflight like never before. Do let me know your views on the upcoming 15km flight in the comments down below. If you like the video, do consider subscribing the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.